Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, it looks like Florida Keys, you just might get some cruise ships after all. That's right. After the election, when those three different bills were placed in the Florida Keys in Key West to limit the amount of cruise ships, limit the amount of limit the size of cruise ships, limit the amount of passengers allowed off the cruise ships per day, and they have the right to choose which ships they want to come in based on environmental factors. Basically, out of 263 scheduled visits, it brought it down to less than 18. So basically wiping out the cruise industry in Key West. However, a bill was introduced in Florida saying, you know what, we don't think that a town of 10,000 people should make decisions that affects the economy of the entire state of Florida and the surrounding areas. So they issued a bill saying that, you know what, ports should be under the state's legislation and not individual townships or towns. Well, that was voted on, but it was scaled back. They actually scaled it back to say, you know, instead of all 15 ports in Florida, that it's now only the 4 ports that are run by the municipality, which does include Florida Keys. So this actually got scaled back and it was voted 12-6 in favor of bringing the bill to the legislature to vote. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, 12-6, they actually had 6 people say, hey, no, let's not vote on that. However, some of those dissenting views were of the opinion that they should include all 15 and were not happy with the scaled back version of the bill. So had it gone to 15, it would probably be even more one-sided. And as I mentioned in my video before when I was talking about it, I said, hold on, Key West, it might not be over yet. When you go to the state legislature and you're asking the state legislature who should decide what happens, the town or the state, when it comes to economical decisions or safety decisions or environmental decisions, the state's going to vote for the state 9 times out of 100, or 9 times out of 10. 9 times out of 100, that would be bad. So it looked like this bill is going to go forward. Now, if it passes into law, of course, you're going to have probably countersuits saying that this is, you know, trying to block it and everything. But once it comes to pass, it can be said everything will remain the same under this bill as it was before the election and before this. So cruise ships would be allowed to go, etc., and until it's decided in court. So just because they put in a court challenge doesn't mean it would stop this from happening. And cruise ships would be allowed more than likely to go to Key West because it's a lot harder to overturn a government bill than it is to turn over, you know, than to put in a recommendation to stop a bill in government. Doesn't happen too often. So there you go. Key West may get cruise ships back again if we ever get cruise ships back again in the United States going forward. I also like to point out that one of the big key points that they kept on pointing out was that the cruise ships are destroying the coral reefs around the Florida Keys and everything like that. And what's interesting is literally a 20-year study on the coral reefs around Florida just came out and said 100% that the damage caused to the coral reefs is from pollution from the land-based companies and shoresides, and has very little to do with the shipping lanes. And that includes shipping, cruise ships, transport, oil tankers, all those sort of things. They said 100% it's caused by the land-based pollution. Now, I'm just reading, this is from a university study, and it's a 20-year study. And they also noted that in the past year, when there have been no cruise ships to Key West, the pollution has still risen off the Florida waters. Kind of hard to argue with those numbers as well, but you know, I'm not the expert, and there's probably opposite studies in both directions, right? So, you know, whenever anyone says anything about this is causing this and you have to do this, you know they have an agenda, whether it's me saying, you know, cruise ships should be allowed to sail, or somebody who's an environmentalist saying cruise ships shouldn't be allowed to sail. It's up to all of us individually to do our own research and come up to our own decisions and go from there. You know, instead of reading a pamphlet that was dropped off in your mailbox, or somebody standing on the side of the street with a blowhorn saying blah, 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 right? We should do our own research, look at the different sides, and come to our own decisions. So it looks like right now, it's kind of heading towards there will be cruise ships in the Florida Keys. Whether they like it or not, I guess. Well, there you go. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Till next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.